This happened when I was in 6th grade. It was one of those memories that stick with you forever, even when you try your hardest to forget. We had a substitute teacher that day. Our regular teacher, Mr. Hughes, had called in sick, and in his place stood a tall, thin man with sunken eyes and a permanent, unsettling grin. He introduced himself as Mr. Porter. Something about him was just off. His voice was too calm, too slow, like he was carefully choosing each word. He barely blinked, and when he did, it was like he had to remind himself to. When he scanned the classroom, his eyes would linger a second too long on each student, as if he were memorizing our faces. At first, we brushed it off. Substitute teachers were always a little weird, right? But the first red flag was when Jessica, the girl who sat by the window, raised her hand. "Mr. Porter, when will Mr. Hughes be back?" Mr. Porter's grin widened. "Mr. Hughes won't be coming back." The class went silent. Jessica forced a laugh. "Wait, what do you mean?" Mr. Porter just smiled. "He's gone." No one spoke after that. The day went on, and things only got stranger. Mr. Porter never touched anything. Not the whiteboard marker, not the attendance sheet, nothing. He just stood there, hands clasped, watching us. Then, halfway through class, the intercom crackled to life. "Attention, students. Mr. Hughes will be out for the week. Please welcome your substitute, Ms. Thompson." Silence. We all turned to look at Mr. Porter. His grin vanished. For the first time, he looked angry. Then, in a voice far lower than before, he whispered, "That wasn't supposed to happen." The door to the classroom slammed shut on its own. The lights flickered. Mr. Porter wasn't there anymore. He didn't walk out. He didn't move. He was just gone. A second later, the door creaked open, and a kind-looking woman stepped in, holding a stack of papers. "Hello, class. Sorry I'm late. I'm Ms. Thompson." She stopped mid-step, her face pale. "What happened in here?" We never found out who or what Mr. Porter was. And Mr. Hughes? He never came back. To this day, there's no one knows where Mr. Porter went and what happened to him. They say schools are safe places, but that night I learned the hard way. Some things lurk in the dark, waiting for the last one left behind. It all started when my history teacher, Mr. Grayson, asked me to stay after class to help clean up. It was just some old books and papers, nothing major. I didn't think much of it until I realized I was completely alone. The hallways were eerily silent. The janitor, usually around by now, was nowhere to be seen. As I stacked the last of the books, the classroom door creaked open. My breath caught in my throat. "Mr. Grayson?" I called out, but there was no answer. I stepped outside and saw someone, standing at the end of the hall. The figure was tall, impossibly still. At first, I thought it was a mannequin, maybe a prank. But then, it moved. The lights flickered, and in that split second of darkness, the figure was suddenly closer. My stomach dropped. I took a shaky step back, and the fluorescent lights above buzzed back to life. The figure was gone. A sharp whisper echoed down the hall. "You're not supposed to be here." My legs froze. The air felt heavy, pressing down on my chest. Then the lockers beside me rattled violently, slamming open one by one. I turned and ran, heart hammering in my chest. But no matter how fast I moved, the hallway stretched longer, the exit never getting closer. A door slammed behind me, followed by footsteps, quick, deliberate. I whipped around, but nothing was there. I could feel something breathing just inches away. I bolted into a side corridor and yanked open the janitor's closet, slamming the door shut behind me. I covered my mouth, trying to control my ragged breathing. Outside, footsteps slowed. Then, silence. I stayed there, motionless for what felt like hours. When I finally dared to peek out, the hall was empty. The exit was just a few feet away. I ran. This time, the distance didn't stretch. I burst through the doors and into the cold night air. The school was silent behind me, no signs of the thing that had been inside. But I swear, as I looked back at the darkened windows, something was still watching. If you enjoyed this story and want more spine-chilling tales, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, some nightmares begin the moment you stop watching. Sleep tight, and I'll see you in the next video.